Hello, my name is Justin, and today I have a fun little Shigaraki 2 deck that I built that I'd like to talk about. I think this is kind of at a locals level. I don't think it's going to be taking any like top cuts at RLEs or doing anything at Nats, but it is a really fun deck based off the back of using dual needle lunge because I wanted to use my contender dual needle lunges to be fully honest to get yourself one momentum and then using nitro explosion ignition to turn that one momentum into multiple momentum to clear your card pool without actually having to ever hit your opponent. Because the one thing that I'm not the biggest fan of about Shigaraki 2 or another deck that's kind of similar to this, which is Bakugo 1, is the fact that it's kind of dependent on what your opponent does, right? Of course, you need to hit your opponent to win the game anyways, but you can't even try to get anything going, right? Because a lot of these decks that play on no progressive want to just play like 6 attacks, and then it's like, okay, well, even if the first 5 don't hit, the last one is, and that's what matters, right? But you can't even start to get to that point unless your opponent takes damage. But in our case, as I already teased, dual needle lunge makes it where we don't have to hit, which is great. The other great thing about dual needle lunge is your opponent will usually see it as a non-threatening attack, so they will let it hit anyway. So a lot of times we're actually getting 2 momentum off of one dual needle lunge, which is fantastic. That said, this deck is extremely slim. It's only 53 cards. 53 cards. And it's really, really squishy. It's really just intended to try and play every attack in our deck on one turn, which it does sometimes. Sometimes it doesn't. It just kind of depends on the role. And that's kind of what you're getting when you play this game, which is why I think it's perfect for locals levels. Because, sometimes when you go to a local event, you want to hang out more than you want to play the game, with your friends or whatever. So sometimes you'll have most of the time you'll actually have very quick rounds, and sometimes you'll win, sometimes you'll lose, but you'll get to chill and relax and have fun with a really cool deck that lets you just use the entirety of your deck, right? But with that, we're gonna go and start off with the attacks. So as already mentioned, we have dual needle lunge. This is just to burn yourself for 3, which isn't great because we only have 19 health. But it doesn't matter. We're just trying to kill our opponent. We're not even worried about the fact that we might lose because we're just trying to play every attack in our deck. So this is what gets you started on your momentum. After that, you want to see Nitro Explosion Ignition and Howitzer Impact Cyclone in some degree. Nitro Explosion Ignition makes it where when we have another attack and we play a Nitro Explosion, we can use Shigaraki, discard a momentum, remove that attack. A Fury attack has left our card pool, so now we get another momentum back. So like I said, it just makes it where we don't actually have to hit our opponent to be able to do our Shigaraki 2 things. We just have to find a Nitro Explosion Ignition. Howitzer Impact Cyclone is just what actually allows us to get through the entirety of our deck. With the fact that we're never really playing on progressive, the resource in it that we deplete quicker is our hand more often than our foundations. We usually don't build that many foundations to start because if you have like a 4 attack hand going first, you actually really want to keep that because you don't need more than about 3 foundations as long as you find some amount of go for the wins, which we'll get to in a second, which means that it's really our hand that we are depleting the quickest, right? So Howitzer Impact Cyclone makes it where we can refill our hand pretty easily, and it just is all around great, especially if you open into like dual needle lunges. Let's say your opponent lets both of them hit. You get 4 momentum and you play a Howitzer just on a 5 instead of even worrying about the combo because we're just going to draw 4, and that's really all you ever expect with Howitzer to begin with. Next, we have Stun Grenade. This is just a fantastic attack. If we're somehow get into the later game, which we don't usually, but if we somehow do, this makes it where we can stun out our entire opponent's board, and then also makes it where we can find more attacks, which is exactly what we're trying to do in this case. And lastly, we have Vile Seizing. This is just like it's a breaker 1 block. It says Fury. It draws us a card most of the time. Our opponents don't usually want to pass that 7 check because, especially if we're going on early turns, because they don't have many foundations to give up in the first place. And they don't really see that 2 damage as too big of a deal when they see what our deck is doing, which is fair, but all around great card. But we only really need 3. I also only own 3 because I just haven't popped the 4th one yet. Because I'm not playing a ton of Vile Seizing decks. So, moving on to the actions, and this is one of the premier cards of the deck. It's going to be Go for the Win. This card is just absolutely fantastic for going in as early as possible because it just makes it where we have a method to be able to check poorly, right? We can just, destroy a foundation. We'll almost always be on less foundations than our opponents if we're going in early because, we'll probably have gone first. They'll have gone second. They'll probably have built like 5 or 6, and we'll have built like 4, maybe 5, right? And not to mention the fact that it doesn't check until after you destroy a foundation. So even if we build the same amount as our opponent, we're go for the win still going to be live, which is great. This is also great for the 2 speed. There was actually one time over the tournament I played yesterday, which was the Wednesday Webcam Weekly, where I caught my opponent off guard by just playing a go for the win to make a Howitzer a 5 high for 18 when they were already 2 deep into the card pool, 2 cards deep into the card pool. So it just also is great for that. It really does everything that it's named for. So moving to the foundations, there's not a ton to talk about here. So we'll just kind of cover them very quickly. Learning to Harden is just a fantastic card. It's one of my favorite cards that we've gotten out of the new set. It's really shines in its common slot, just as something that all around brings death decks back into the limelight. The destroy draw card is just fantastic, and then it also just says -2 speed, right? So there's really nothing to complain about this card, and I absolutely am super fond of it. Red Ride's the coolest. It's just a bit of damage. It's also here for the low block. Sometimes we need that damage, sometimes we don't. It's just a good card to have. Foresight is another one of my favorite cards from the new set. The fact that we get to look at our next check, know whether we can actually pass that last foundation on turn 1 in our hand, or know whether we should block or whether we should not block because we see an attack on top that we really want to draw next turn, right? Or whether we see a 5 check when blocking with it. It's really everything I want out of a zero diff, and I think it's one of the few actually balanced zero diffs that isn't just either way overpowered or way underpowered. So. Refreshing Slice is crucial to the deck, along with Blood Evaluation, so I'll cover them both at the same time. These just make it where we get to get an extra momentum for free, right? Which makes it where when we play the Howitzer on a 6, we get an extra momentum for free, we can draw with it, then we can re-ready Refreshing Slice or Blood Evaluation so that when we do hit, we have another foundation to commit. It also is just useful when, again, like I said, this deck goes off on 3 or 4 foundations most of the time because we don't really have the defense to survive much past turn 2. So being able to re-ready our board is rather important. Snack Time is absolutely fantastic for getting rid of all those cards we draw with Howitzer. It'll quickly just stun out any board without even having to draw a stun grenade, which is fantastic. Next, we have Surviving the Final. This is just a peak zero diff, one of the better zero diffs in the entire format, right? Just -1 speed for free once per turn will always be a really good ability on a zero diff. Someone with Style, again, when we're on not that many foundations, it's important that we get to re-ready. So that's what this is doing here. Tight-Lipped is there because we do end up destroying a lot of foundations. So being able to flip for 1 extra damage is sometimes pretty useful. The 1 mid is also very useful. And then it's just a zero diff to kind of round out our zero diffs. And the last card we have is Let's Fight Bad Guys, because sometimes that 2 speed does matter. Like I said, on a Howitzer Impact Cyclone, getting it to 5 speed was the difference between it maybe being blockable if they check a 5. Or I actually just win the game. So Let's Fight Bad Guys can do that without having to see go for the win in our hand or just on the in the stage in general. The last thing to go over is just going to be the sideboard. There isn't a ton to talk about here because I didn't focus on the sideboard all that much. I don't usually build sideboards with too much thought for local level decks or what I consider to be local level decks or when I'm first building a deck. But the one important card that I did want in my sideboard, just in case I'm ever at an event and I run into these decks that are very annoying to face, was Exploding Pride. So Mineta 2 and Amajiki both need their momentum. They're really annoying, even Mirio. So just saying, hey, you have to take this one. Also lose health because of your momentum is just really fantastic. And I think it needs to be in the sideboard of almost every deck on those symbols. So I didn't really want to, run the deck without it. The other 6 cards are just kind of decent sideboard options on death. Again, didn't put too much thought in it. Desperate Struggle is just kind of neat for those decks that put a lot of damage, a lot of speed on things. So you can just reset them so you don't have to block them or so you can block them. Forcing Surrender is great, again, in the Mineta 2 matchup or in the Tokoyami matchup, as we see Tokoyami on the art of the card. Just to get rid of cards out of my card pool or their card pool that matter. And lastly, Let's Fight Bad Guys is really, I just didn't have anything else. I just threw it in there because, I mean, 2 speed can sometimes be pretty useful. And there was, 1 or 2 matches I actually brought that in yesterday. So, but with that said, I'm going to go ahead and transition into a game from my stream from the Wednesday Webcam Weekly that really showcases what this deck is doing and shows you exactly how much damage output we actually have and how quickly we can get to that damage output. And it's just a quick 2-game match. That was my first round opponent for the Wednesday Webcam Weekly. And I hope you guys will enjoy that.
All right, all set?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Defrosting on a 3, tape on a 2, and wall cling on a 4. Oops. That's a 3. That'll fail. Go ahead.
Yeah. I'll keep what I got. Draw my 1. Start off on a 3. Checks. On a 3. Check. On a 4. Checks the 3, 4. On a 3. Check. On a 5. Check. That'll be fine. I'll keep 3 in hand.
Keep my 2 and draw 3. Well, risk it. Grasping on a 5. Checks a 5.
Perfect.
Any responses?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay. I'll have you build a foundation from your stage to your card pool, please.
Yeah, it's gonna be the surviving the fire.
Your go.
I want to pass.
I'll stun 1.
Sure. It'll be this one. I'm gonna pass.
I'll say if this is not blocked, I commit one of your foundations.
Sure, I'm gonna pass.
I'm gonna defrosting once per turn. Give this minus a speed plus 2 damage.
Yeah, I'll pass.
I will also pass. It's a 1 mid for 7 throw.
We'll go 1, 2, 3 for the block. Check the 3. Respond breaker 1. I'll take 5, 4.
4.
Yeah, one of those numbers was right.
So self-assured on a 4, 2, 3, 4. Oh, sorry, it's on a 3. Checks a 1.
Yeah, you're good.
So I
got the point across.
Still, yeah. Hang on, because I always do the math backwards on this. Sorry. On a 3.
Checks 4, a 1.
The breaker checks a 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Makes sense. On a 5. Checks. I'll pass.
Awesome. I'll go ahead and ready up here. We're going to review 1, draw 6 good cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Somewhat right. Yeah, let's go on a 5. We'll check a 5. Any responses?
No responses.
Cool. Our first enhance is going to be give this attack 2 damage.
Sure. I'll have you build a foundation from your stage to your card pool. You can build the top card face down if you wish.
Yeah, it'll be that one there.
Okay.
We're gonna lose our 3, so this goes to momentum after we're done.
Sure. I'll once per turn give this plus 2 speed minus the damage with the frosting.
Sure. I'm gonna discard for a speed and stun 1.
Sure. I'll pass.
We'll stun 1.
You got it. I'll pass.
It's a 6 high for 6.
Sure. Take the 6.
Sure. I'm gonna respond, committing and learning to harden to get an extra momentum.
Sure.
And then this will leave and go there.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna go on a 2-3. We'll pay the cost destroying learning to harden. We'll respond to draw. Then we'll check on a 3, and then we'll build the top 2 since we have 3 foundations and you have 4. Yeah, we'll go on a 5-6. We'll check a 5-6. Any response?
Responses.
Cool. Our first enhance is going to be to lose our 3. It'll go to momentum after it resolves. Yours.
Sure. I'll pass.
We're going to discard for speed and stun 1.
Sure. I'm going to change this to a mid.
Sure. Mid. We're going to discard a momentum to remove learning to harden from our card pool.
Sure. Do you have any other ways on your board to give it speed other than Tomura and your standing foundation?
EX2 with dual needle lunge.
Gotcha. Cool. All right. I'm going to discard a momentum, set its speed to 0, and draw a card.
Yeah. And you just have Mineta up?
Yep.
Any other block to care about? Yeah, we'll pass. It's a 0 mid for 5. That'll go to momentum after it resolves.
All right. I'll block on a 3. Checks a 4 for a full block because it's a mid.
Yeah. It'll go to momentum.
Sure.
We're gonna go on a 4. We're gonna check the 5. Any responses?
No responses.
Cool. Our first chance is gonna be to reveal the top 3. 1, 2, 3. We'll take Nitro Explosion.
Sure.
Yours.
I'll pass.
Will also pass. It's just a 4 mid 4.
Yep. Take it.
Awesome. We're gonna respond to take an extra moment. We're gonna go. You get yourself at 21, right? I forgot to keep track. Your life's 21, right? Did I count
Correct.
that right? Okay.
No, you got it. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
I forgot to keep track, so that's why I was double checking. On a 5-6. 6 of 5, 6. Our first enhance, if you got no responses, is going to be to get a momentum.
You got it. I'll pass.
We're going to destroy to draw 4 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4.
I'll pass.
We'll have done everything we want to and say 3 high for 6 sounds great.
Attempt a full block on a 5. Checks a 5 for a full block.
Cool. Don't forget the super simple thing we're always supposed to do. That's fine. We're gonna go on a 2-3-4, destroy that foundation, check it, and build the top 2. We're gonna go on a 4-5-6. We're gonna check a 5-6 and ask responses.
No responses.
Cool. We're gonna discard a momentum, kick this out of our pool, respond to get another momentum back.
Sure. Pass.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and say 5 high for 4 sounds great.
Sure. Take 4, go to 17.
Sure. We're gonna go on a 4-5-6. We're gonna check a 3-4-5-6.
Yep.
Our first enhance is going to be to have you check against a 7.
Sure. Fails.
We'll get 2 damage overall. Yours?
Pass.
We'll discard a momentum to remove this one, respond to get a momentum.
Sure. Pass.
Yeah, we're gonna remove this to give our attack powerful 2.
Sure, I'll pass.
We're gonna discard a momentum to ready blood evaluation and then respond to draw.
Sure. Pass.
We're gonna powerful 2 3 times.
Sure. Pass.
We're gonna send it for 12.
Go to 5.
We're gonna respond to get a momentum with our character.
Sure.
We're gonna go 5 6. We're gonna check a 5 6. We're gonna first enhance EX3 to make it a 6 high for 5.
Sure. You got it.